Hey y'all, this video is super late and sorry for that, but I hope y'all had a happy 4th, setting off fireworks and all, and hopefully keeping all your fingers. Your boy is back, and I've been doing a bunch since my last video. One of them is playing Guild Wars 2, and holy shit, a new expansion is on the horizon. I'm pretty excited for the new features coming to the game, and two things that I'm really excited for are new core weapons and the Weaponmaster training. With new core weapons, I think some professions got the short end of the stick. Thief gets another main hand weapon instead of an offhand. Like, how cool would it be for Thief to have Torch or Focus? And Rangers still don't have access to guns, but most of them are getting some great weapon access. Guardian with dual pistol sounds like it'll be fun. Staff Warrior, only if it's a healing weapon. And Pistol Elementalist. And my favorite, Mesmer Rifle. I don't care if it turns out to be the worst weapon in Mesmer's kit. I'll have my fun with it, then I'll shelf it. But I really hope it turns out to be a solid Condi or clone making weapon to give each spec something to diversify ranged options to something besides just Greatsword. Because even with Weaponmaster training, I found Mesmer doesn't benefit much from it, but I'm getting ahead of myself. This new expansion, Secrets of the Obscure, is set to release August 22nd. And the news about it broke to us on June 27th. In that announcement, ArenaNet also said there'd be a beta event for Weaponmaster training from June 29th to July 2nd. And I got to play like 4 hours of it because I had work and other stuff to do. Yeah, kind of disappointing thing to say, but I definitely had fun with the time I had testing out some builds that I was hoping for. I only played around with 3 of the professions, those being Engineer, Mesmer, and Elementalist. I spent a lot of time just doing things in the open world and beating on a target dummy, but it gave me enough time to at least get the feel of some builds that I thought of. It was a fun event, and it's got me really excited for the expansion. Before I get into the builds, I want to talk about some other things in SotO that I'm excited for. For starters, Guild Wars 2 is getting a battle pass, but without FOMO or pay to win. So this battle pass, called the Wizard's Vault, will have rewards in it that rotate out on a quarterly basis. Like a normal battle pass. But in the case of Wizard's Vault, you're still able to get rewards from any of the previous rotations, and you can't pay to skip progression on it. This is so refreshing to see, because we live in a timeline where battle passes have unique rewards that you can only unlock in a fucking 2 to 3 month window where you have to play 5 hours every day to get everything, because if you don't, you'll never be able to earn any of it again. But don't worry if it's too much time to play the game. Just pay $10 to skip 10 levels. Come on, you don't want to miss out on that Dorito Hypeforged Thorn, do you? I'm glad ArenaNet is making this choice with the Wizard's Vault, but that's to be expected from them. All of their design choices tend to stray away from FOMO and pay to win, and it's good that they're still going strong with that philosophy. But I haven't gotten to the rewards yet. The announcement blog casts a pretty wide net on what we could expect from the Wizard's Vault, and they're pretty juiced. Gold, crafting materials, legendary starter kits, they're even adding gem store exclusive skins to it, which I'm excited to see what they're gonna add. But I think the most hype that I got from this section was something that wasn't even directly mentioned. Mount skins. There wasn't any explicit wording saying they'd be obtainable through the Wizard's Vault, but with the teaser image right below a paragraph introducing it, I feel like that's a pretty big correlation that you can make, right? Right now, mount skins are only obtainable through the gem store. I'll be honest, I have no issue buying mount skins, but I am disappointed with there being no mount skins earnable in-game, at least until Wizard's Vault comes out. I just thought it'd be great to be able to earn some type of mount skin from like a collection, strike or raid rewards, world v world, anything really. And it looks like ANET thought the same too. While Wizard's Vault isn't exactly a unique reward from an activity that signifies prestige, it's still a step in the right direction, and I can't wait to see what they add to it when it comes out. And before I get into the builds, I think I should add a disclaimer to them too. I definitely need to do more testing when it comes out, as I didn't play enough to tune any of these builds at all. I still want to show them here because I know there's people out there that have more knowledge of the game's combat system that can help me refine these ideas more, so please, if anyone has any ideas, comment below. Some of the builds that I've tested just don't fit in the endgame meta to my knowledge, but I thought they'd be fun to mess around with in the open world, and there's a chance that these could be usable in PvP. However, I haven't gone too far into that game mode yet to be able to say what really works and what doesn't there. Mesmer was the first profession that I wanted to try out when the beta dropped, and when I finally played it, I was kind of underwhelmed. It was really cool to see the dagger ambush with Mirage, and really interesting running dagger shield Virtuoso, but I think the weapons are too uniquely designed for the elite spec in Mesmer's case to give me a convincing argument to mix spec weapons. The dagger isn't a solid condition weapon for Mesmer without the Virtuoso trait, so it isn't really that great for Mirage, but the clone generation on skill 2 is pretty juice, so I feel you could probably do something with it on power chrono. Actually, now that I'm saying this, maybe there could be room for a power Mirage build. I'm not really sure, I haven't played Mirage much, so I don't really know the kit that well. Axe also had the problem of not working too well with the other two specs. There wasn't enough bleeding on autos to give me enough blade generation on Virtuoso, and Axe is really reliant on you only using Axe for it to work well, so it messes with Chronomancer's flexibility. And last, Shield. I just don't think it worked well with the other specs. Mirage and Virtuoso are very offensive specializations, while Chrono is a lot more defensive. So Chrono Shield having slower attacks and this really long block with juice clone generation and a slow moving attack that provides boons and CC is a great offhand weapon for Chrono. In any other spec's hands, it's a worse offhand sword. Engineer was another profession that I was excited to get my hands on with this beta, specifically Hollowsmith. I've been drawn to the idea of making some type of tanky hollow build for a while, since it has a lot of damage reduction from light density amplifier, spectrum shield, and on-demand light aura. But offhand shield wasn't that great for reliable CC, and the blocks aren't as good as Scrapper Hammer. Scrapper Hammer gave my hollow build the much needed CC and defensive utility to make it a good all-round bruiser both outside of Photon Forge and in. Again, I was only in Celestial gear and I could have chosen better traits, but I had fun testing it out in the open world, even though I wasn't performing that well. I could see that the build was capable of getting results, I'm just really bad at timing my blocks. Here's the traits that I went with for this build, and once the expansion comes out, if I test the build more and I like it, I'm gonna make a longer video about it. The third and last beta character I made was an Elementalist. Now, I'm not an Ellie player, and I haven't even gotten my Ellie to max level yet, but I've had an idea in my head for a healing Weaver build that used sword for healing because I thought a sword healer would be really fun to play as. The thing is, the idea never made it past build editor because I couldn't get it to work on paper, and I couldn't think of any reason why this build would be compelling. But this beta event gave that build a second chance. See, I only chose Weaver initially because it was the only Ellie spec that had access to sword, but now I have the option to give Tempest sword or put Warhorn on Weaver. I ended up choosing sword Warhorn Tempest and had a blast. Again, I didn't really test it enough to get a full grasp of the build, but it seemed to have decent enough healing access and constant Condi cleanse from the traits Powerful Aura and Smothering Aura. This is the build I'm honestly excited to test more when the expansion comes out because I think this one has the highest chance of being an actually useful build in instance content. But this is all speculation, and I need to test it more on August 22nd when Secrets of the Obscure drops. Until then, here's the traits that I use. Unfortunately, Ellie was the third and last character I made for the beta to try things out. The short time that I spent experimenting with things was just enough to keep me eager for the expansion release. I do want to see how the expanded arsenal will mesh with the new weapons every profession is getting. Hopefully there will be some good synergies there, but other than that, that was my beta experience. I know, kinda underwhelming to talk about, but I still wanted to at least talk about some builds that I'm hoping for in the future. I'm hyped for the Wizard's Tower, and I can't wait to test some crazy builds in the live game. As always, until next time, stay safe.